Paulino steams the fastball in. It's good for strike one on Ricky Weeks, a .259 hitter with 2 homers and 7 runs batted in. Weeks a slugging second sacker. Fastball's fouled away, and it's no balls, 2 strikes. Paulino in that first start did not give up an earned run for 6 innings. He led 1-0 when he came out, but the Astros lost it late, 4-2. He threw 97 pitches. Weeks puts this one out into right field. Hunter Pence back to the warning track to catch out number 1. Jerry Meals, as JD mentioned, has the play tonight with Mike DeMuro at first, Chris Tiller at second. Dale Scott is the third base umpire. Brand new crew in town to start a new series, which will conclude Sunday afternoon, and then the Astros leave town on a road trip of 3 cities. Corey Hart has been hitting second this year for the Brewers. Man with speed and power. He gets a breaking ball, and it's ball 1 to a .281 hitter with 3 homers, 6 runs batted in for Hart.
Corey Hart looks a little different to you. It's because he dyed his hair black. He and J.J. Hardy struggling, so trying to get a little good karma.
He does look different. 1 hopper. Paulino over to Berkman. 2 outs. Astros pitching has really gotten good.
Well, you know, Felipe did a lot of things well in that first start, and he's off to a great start here tonight. I just love the tempo he worked with last time out. Very no nonsense. Let's get after it. A mindset. Throws a pitch, gets back on the rubber, takes a sign, and goes to work. You know, every indication that I'm in charge here. I'm attacking you. Nothing defensive about his approach.
Now Ryan Braun, 327, 4 homers, 11 runs batted in. Big series in Philadelphia. Third in the MVP voting last year. He can turn around anybody's fastball. There's ball 1 on Braun. There's a 448 on base average and a .600 slugging percentage, and he is 8 for 10 with 3 homers and 6 runs batted in the last 3 games.
He also drew 4 walks in those 3 ball games, so constantly either on base or circling the bases. That's such a talented young hitter. Rookie of the Year a couple of years ago.
He leads the club in batting average, runs batted in. He yanks this one foul. He really has that quick bat. 1 and 2. He can feast on fastballs. He was a .285 hitter last year. Braun, a first-round pick in '05, the 5th player drafted. That little guy's a happy man. Braun went to the University of Miami. He's drilled by that pitch. And on 1-2, he becomes a base runner. Hit by the pitch from Paulino, his second hit batsman of the year.
Because he is so quick, you have to come hard in and try to open up the outside part of the plate. Tough way to start your night's work. Taking a 96-mile-an-hour heater. I don't know if that got rib or elbow, but neither one of those is all that appealing to me.
No, you wouldn't order room service on either of those.
Upper arm, looks like.
Okay. That's preferable to rib any day.
I'm shedding tears.
Prince Fielder, the batter. Fielder just 24 years old. Coming up in this scoreless game in the first inning, trying to get rolling. 308 is his career average in this ballpark with 6 homers, 14 runs batted in here. This season he's hitting under 200 at the moment. He moves back and it's ball 1. Humberto Quintero drew back the right arm. He is the early warning system for base runners. Often likes to make a throw early in the game if there's somebody on base.
And that's the other part of Braun's game. He can run a little bit too, so you got to keep an eye on him.
Bouncer. Matsui to his right with the toss to Tejada. No runs, no hits. A man stranded, no score. 4-game hitting streak at center field. Lance Berkman bats third at first base. Carlos leads the cleanup man in left field. Tonight, Miguel Tejada moves into the 5 spot, the shortstop, followed by Hunter Pence in right field. Jeff Blum at third base. Humberto Quintero, the catcher. Felipe Paulino, the pitcher.
Giovanni Gallardo, 22-year-old right-hander, takes the hill tonight for the Brewers. He's worked 3 times. He's been very good twice, struggled once. Last time, outstanding work. And for the year, he's 1-1 with a .458 earned run average.
Kazuo Matsui, first man in. Fouls it back, strike one. Matsui begins the night at .220 with 1 homer, 4 runs batted in. Has a .298 on base average. Third baseman Bill Hall even with the bag and off the line. Matsui hits the fastball slowly up the middle and backhander. Ricky Weeks can't get a grip on it. Infield hit. Matsui.
Gallardo may have clipped that a little bit, taking some of the pace off of it. Didn't really matter. It was going to be a base hit either way. Weeks showing very good range and also showing good judgment, not trying to make a throw there.
Looks like he might have gotten a glove on that. Michael Bourne comes up with a man on first. 4-game hitting streak for Bourne. He looks at it. It's ball 1 for Michael. A .261 hitter. No homers. 3 runs batted in for Michael. And he's checking the signs of Dave Clark at third base. Michael's hitting .222 on this homestand. He's batted lead off when Matsui was out of the lineup. He's hit 8th quite a bit. Now in the number 2 spot tonight. Giovanni Gallardo started twice against the Astros in '07. Total of 15 shutout innings for him in those 2 starts. One at third base side. Gallardo gets out of the way, and Hall flips him at first on the sacrifice. Matsui to second, 1 out.
A straight sacrifice there. I don't think it's a good play, but trying to bunt for a base hit, I mean, no problem. That's a good try. See, he squares late. He's trying to get a base hit, and failing to do that, he at least gets the runner over into scoring position, and they got him by just a whisker. Defensively this year, the Brewers have been very, very good. That infield's been tight, playing above reputation.
So Hall handled that one, and Bourne, even though he was bunting for a hit, gets credit with the sacrifice. Now it's Lance Berkman batting. Matsui at second. Berkman has 4 homers, 9 runs batted in. Ball 1 stopped by Kendall. Lance has walked 13 times. First base open here, but in the first inning, Gallardo will go right after him. 200 batting average for Lance. Lance is a career .338 hitter against the Brewers, but on this homestand he's 4 for 23, 174 with a couple of homers, 4 runs batted in.
Play Lance pretty much straight up in the outfield, maybe a step to pull and right, strong pull on the infield with Weeks way over towards Prince Fielder, but they leave J.J. Hardy on the shortstop side of the bag out there at second.
One ball and 2 strikes. Astros were blanked last night by 2 excellent pitchers, Chad Billingsley and Jonathan Broxton of the Dodgers. They were held to 4 hits, 3 singles, and a Miguel Tejada double. Lance had a 4-game hitting streak that was snapped last night. Cecil Cooper's club blanked for the 3rd time this season in 16 games. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Lance with 2 homers in his last 4 games. Gets the RBI shot right here in the first inning.
Gallardo will remind you a little bit of last night's pitcher Billingsley. He's got that plus fastball 4-seamer he can work up in the zone, then a 2-seamer that sinks. Good breaking stuff.
Bouncer, and Weeks rolls over on the outfield grass. Quick throw on the fielder to get him. Excellent play. Matsui to third, 2 outs.
A priority there for the infielders. Make sure you smother that ball and prevent the run from scoring. Then it gets a little gravy on top by being able to throw Lance out at first base. Cheating that way put him in good position to make this play, but good quick hands. And then from his knees he gets him by half a step. Looks like Lance kind of stutter stepped a little bit as he got closer to the bag.
Excellent work by Weeks. Now it's Carlos Lee, the former Brewer. Runner at third, 2 outs for El Caballo, who is .400 in his last 5 games. 2 homers and 5 runs batted in. Looking at ball 1. Batting average for the season has climbed to .263. He has 3 homers and he's driven in 10.
A lot of pressure on Gallardo, of course, with Sheets and Sabathia no longer in the picture here in Milwaukee.
There really is. Jeff Suppan was the opening day starter, but most people around the Brewers regard this young pitcher as their ace.
Yeah, he's got plus stuff. A real nice year for them in 2007. 9-5 with a .367, and pretty much missed all of last year. A couple of knee injuries.
That hangs for Mike Cameron in right center. Corey Hart's over though, and Hart will handle it for the 3rd out. No runs, a hit, runner stranded at 3rd, no score.
$7 and kids $1. That's a good deal. And there's a phone number, 8779 Astros.
You can get the cap that JD himself wore. There's Mike Cameron taking ball 1, leading off the 2nd inning. Cameron,
wear that cap? It's a little small for me.
Oh, okay. Driven to right center field. Michael Bourne racing back, and he covers the ground well. We're out number 1. In this ballpark, a very speedy center fielder comes in awfully handy. That gap out in right center field. And Mattel's hill to be covered.
Yeah, Pence in pursuit. Michael throws up the hand, says, I got this one for you, pal. Let me track that down. That's why I'm out here.
J.J. Hardy bats. He's trying to get on track. Fastball misses at 96. Ball 1 for Hardy, a 148 average, 3 homers, 7 runs batted in for James Jerry Hardy. And it's a 2-ball, no strike count for the very good shortstop who has nice power. 24 homers, 74 runs batted in last year for Hardy. Ooh.
Yeah, how about that? That's what Paulino did last time. That surprised a lot of people. Slipping his breaking ball in on a 2-0 count.
That is a gorgeous pitch on 2-0. Bouncer foul makes it 2 balls, 2 strikes now. Bill Hall on deck. The Brewers, with their good lineup, have not really clicked yet offensively. They're 10th in runs scored. New skipper is Ken Maka, formerly with the Oakland A's. He had good seasons there. A couple of playoff teams with the A's for Ken Maka. Up the middle and into center field. The Brewers collect their first hit. They've been hard to come by on this road trip for Hardy. He was 3 for 22.
Now he got a hanging slider. And he watches his ball just kind of sit there for him, and he lashes it right back up the middle. And Felipe has a tendency, you see him finish how he falls off to the first base side, but you have to make sure you finish your pitch. When you fall off like that, there's a tendency to hang the breaking ball, to leave it up.
Third baseman Bill Hall follows. This one heads for the right field line. Hunter Pence moving over for it. 2 outs. And it's Jason Kendall next. One story online today about Jason Kendall, who's had his struggles. The batting average of 132. No homers, 4 runs batted in. Ken Maka stressed that, of course, he's not the hitting coach, but he has a very good knowledge of hitting. And here's a 292 career hitter who obviously is well below his normal pace. He said he's rolling over on a lot of balls, hitting a lot of grounders to third base. And that's not really his style of hitting. When things go well for him, he's hitting the ball to right field and right center a fair amount of the time.
You know, when hitters talk about rolling over, they're pulling off the front shoulder instead of driving through the ball. They're kind of pulling, opening up the front side a little too early. And a lot of times that's because they're fearful of being beat by the fastball. They just feel like they're not quick, and so they're trying to cheat a little bit, and they're kind of jumpy. Instead of waiting back and trying to drive through the ball, they're pulling off.
In fact, the hitting coach this year is Dale Swaim, who was the manager for part of last season after Ned Yost was relieved of his duties. Fastballs hit foul. No balls, 2 strikes on the Brewers' number 8 hitter. Brewers 21-12 against the Astros the last 2 years. And last year they blazed a nice trail to the playoffs with 90 wins and 72 losses, but then she doesn't care much about that. It's 1-2. Giovanni Gallardo, who really swings the bat well, is on deck. Gallardo was 3 for 6 and hit a home run off Randy Johnson in San Francisco earlier this season. Brewers have been outscored by 11 runs this year. They're 6-9. The Astros 6-10.
Yeah, that's quite a nice little deal for Gallardo to have a big unit in his book.
He is the only pitcher who's ever connected off Randy Johnson for a home run in the major leagues. They say it was a high fastball and a no-doubter at AT&T Park. Tap the shortstop. Tejada in. Makes the throw on Kendall. No runs, 1 hit, 1 left. No score.
Welcome back to Minute Maid Park. No score, and hey fans, Hall of Fame broadcaster Milo Hamilton will be signing autographs tomorrow before the game in the new 5-7 grill from 4:30 to 5:15. Bring out your Milo Hamilton Way replica signs. This is what he's going to be signing, and those of you who like an autograph, you must have a ticket to the game. These signs were given away the other day. They are awesome. I'm up here with Milo. I'm hoping I can get him to sign it. Milo, you going to sign this one for me?
Will I ever?
He's on the radio. I'm on TV at the same time. Has this ever been done before?
I don't know, but it's all right with me.
This is like cross broadcasting. All right,
It's all signed.
I've got my signed one. Come on out tomorrow. Get these. They're awesome.
And it's for street signs only. That's what it's for.
Street signs only, fans. Come on out and get them.
So
guys.
Fans, bring your own street sign. No, never mind. That was kind of a simulcast you're doing here then.
That was. We like to be cutting edge here.
Ball one to Miguel Tejada. He's on a 3-game hitting streak. Bouncer up the middle. Backhanded. Ricky Weeks. Long arm. One out. Coming up later in our Dodge Grab Life feature, Hunter Pence will tell us his favorite video games. Stay tuned for that.
Well, advanced scout for the Brewers is doing a good job. Ricky Weeks has been positioned perfectly for first Berkman's would-be base hit. Now this one off the bat of Tejada.
Certainly has. Hunter Pence getting ready to dig in. 304 average, 4 homers, 8 runs batted in. Now Hunter has faced Giovanni Gallardo before in a league up around Fort Worth, Texas, where Gallardo also went to school. There's a bouncer, and Weeks is there for that one too. And it's turning into the spring of 43 so far for the Astros with all these 4-3 plays. Did you just see some lightning out there?
I saw some earlier, yeah.
Just saw a flash out there, which tells us why the roof is closed. So 3 ground ball chances now for Ricky Weeks so far in the first 5 outs, and Jeff Blum will follow. It's going to be raining soon, if not now. Jeff Blum, 318, no homers, 3 runs batted in. There's ball 1 to Jeff, who is hitting .389 on this homestand, 7 for 18 with 3 runs batted in. Has a .400 on base average. 1-1. Giovanni Gallardo, a 2nd-round pick in '04, born in Mexico, grew up around Fort Worth. First arrived on the major league scene in '97, going 9-5 with a 3.67 ERA for Milwaukee. 2-1. Last year he had some really tough luck. He opened the season on the disabled list, had some cartilage left knee surgery, and then in May he tore his right knee ACL ligament. Line shot right at fielder. And everything going to the right side in that inning for the Astros with no results that are favorable for them. It is no score.
doesn't really tell you a whole lot.
No, it's not always a good sign.
I mean, it's good if you're turning double plays when you get the opportunities. A lot of times it's a function of too many base runners.
Yeah.
Or you don't have power pitchers in your rotation, so you get a lot of ground balls.
Gallardo, a .255 career hitter, leads it off here and runs the count to 1-1. He is 3 for 6 this season with a homer and 3 runs batted in. Has 14 hits in his career, 7 for extra bases.
Yeah, so even though Randy Johnson is not the Randy Johnson of old, I don't care if you take the unit deep in BP, you know, you're going to be able to brag about that to your friends forever.
That's going in the media guide. 2 balls and 2 strikes for Felipe Paulino. Little chop goes past the mound. Matsui fields it and flips on to Berkman. 1 out. The Astros, who move on to Cincinnati, Atlanta, and 2 games in Washington on the next trip, would like to get moving toward that 500 mark. 4 games under right now. Off to a good start on the mound with Paulino. Now facing Ricky Weeks. Weeks hit a fly ball to right, leading off the game. Hear that thunder outside now. Brewers are 23 and 46 at Minute Maid Park. Strike to Weeks.
They first came into the National League Central in 1998, and for I don't know, first 7 or 8 years of their existence in the National League, they averaged finishing about 20-25 games out of first place, and then they started to creep towards respectability. Finished 500 in 2005. And took a little step back before bouncing back and ultimately claiming the wild card last year.
Berkman with a play. 2 outs. That was a real push for them to get that wild card. Things seem to be falling apart toward the end of the year, but behind Sheets and Sabathia, they got it done.
Yeah, it cost the manager his job. Kind of a weird deal.
It was strange. They hadn't been to the playoffs since '82 when they were in the World Series. And so it really meant a lot to finish the job last year, which they did. But then they were eliminated by the Phillies in the first round. Corey Hart with a towering pop. They did try to sign Sabathia. It's fouled away, strike 1. And then decided to move on. And Gallardo is a big part of their future now. Guys like Corey Hart. Pretty nice lineup. A lot of these guys homegrown, like Hart. Fly ball, Hunter Pence over toward the line in right. No score after 2.5.
Astros.com. Food and drink specials too out there in the 5-7 grill that night, so it should be a fun night at the ballpark.
Humberto Quintero in a scoreless game takes the fastball up for ball one. He is 0 for 7 to open this season. This is his third start. He fought Brian Moeller in Brian's first start, and then this is his second time out with Paulino. 1 ball and 1 strike as Pudge Rodriguez gets the night off. Quintero tries to get something started here with Paulino on deck, and then Matsui to bat third. Bouncer to shortstop, and J.J. Hardy handles out number 1. Gallardo went 6 shutout innings in his last start at New York on Saturday. Got a no decision. He was up against Johan Santana, and the Mets won it after he left the game 1-0. Struck out 7 in his 6 innings. And he struck out 16 and 17 2/3 coming into this game tonight.
So far tonight, it's 1 ground ball after another.
Yeah. Paulino got a hit. He's 1 for 2. First major league hit in his last start. There's strike 1. Matsui comes out to the on deck circle. Gallardo makes it. No balls, 2 strikes with a 94-mile-per-hour heater.
Not a bad hack there by Felipe. Felipe originally signed as a shortstop when he was a kid.
Bouncer. Hardy playing this one for out number 2. That is 8 straight after a leadoff single by Matsui on the infield. Last inning it was Ricky Weeks with the first 2 plays. Now it's J.J. Hardy here in this frame, and Matsui go back for the second time now.
There's only been 1 ball leave the infield. Carlos Lee flew out to right to end the first inning. Everything else Gallardo has kept in the infield.
Matsui with that single in the first is 4 hits away from 500 in his career in the majors. He's played airless baseball this year, one of only 5 second basemen in the National League to do so. And made a really nice relay throw to third base last night on that play. With Michael Bourne picking up the ball, hit by Orlando Hudson in right center. 1 ball and 1 strike. Florida got 3 in the first at home to lead the Phillies 3-0 in the 4th inning. Josh Johnson against Brett Myers. Foul back. 1-2. Marlins are really swimming right now with that 11-4 record. They have a 4-game lead in the NL East over Atlanta coming into play tonight. Dan Uggla connected for his 3rd homer. That was a 3-run shot in the first off Brett Myers. Now 2 balls, 2 strikes to Matsui. It is dark outside. We'd be in a rain delay right now without a roof.
That's why I recommended the roof. Talk about building this place.
Well, that's strikeout number 1 for Gallardo. He has set down 9 in a row now, and it's 0-0 after 3. Fans enjoying this night. No score through 3. Aflac trivia time. Who was elected baseball's second commissioner on this date in 1945? Well, let's see. Was that Happy Chandler? Gonna have to think about that. Ryan Braun leads it off in the 4th inning. He was hit by a pitch in the 1st. The bat moves. The appeal goes to first, but he checked his swing. Mike DeMuro with a call, and it's ball 1.
It was Harry Truman, wasn't it?
That was Harry Truman. Was he a baseball commissioner?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, there are people who have speculated that George W. Bush could be a baseball commissioner. 1 ball and 1 strike. How much longer does Bud Selig have on his deal? Any idea?
As long as he wants, I think.
Okay.
This seems like it's kind of been his call.
Well, he's kind of like a Supreme Court judge.
I think the owners are generally happy with him.
Braun looks at it. It's a strike, and it's 1-2. For Ryan Braun, one of the emerging young players in the game. He's already emerged after 37 homers and 106 runs batted in last year. Rookie of the Year status in 07. Hit 34 bombs that year. Broken bat. Up the middle, Matsui grabs it on a bounce. 1 out.
Tell you what, this is pretty impressive. Both of these pitchers really dominating this game. There's only been the 1 strikeout so far, so it doesn't look dominant. But they're missing a lot of barrels. Not many balls hit hard. Getting the jump on most of these hitters.
You might call it roll out the barrels, JD, because they're going in a box somewhere. Broken bats like that. Prince Fielder bounced into a forced play. Ball 1 to Prince. He's just 24, as we said earlier, and last year 34 homers, 102 runs batted in. He hit 50 bombs in 07. He was 3rd in the MVP vote that year, and last year Ryan Braun was 3rd. 2 balls, no strikes. 2 of the top young players side by side in this lineup, Braun and Fielder, in all of baseball. They're both 25. At least they will be in a few weeks.
They're a real nice model. You know, obviously they had to go through years of really struggling and stockpiling draft picks, and had to be frustrating for fans in Milwaukee. But we're starting to see some dividends. Young, talented players coming up all at once.
2-2. Fielder hit a shot off the shoulder of Cole Hamels yesterday. And he had a big day. He had a 3-run double in addition to that hit off Hamels. He swung the bat on that breaking pitch in the dirt and struck out. Strikeout number 1 for Paulino.
That power curveball. That's a fairly feeble swing. That's a guy who had to protect against a 96-mile-an-hour fastball.
Let's see who was baseball's second commissioner, elected in 1945. Albert Benjamin Happy Chandler.
Mountain Landis was the first.
Yes. He was very powerful. There's strike 1 to Mike Cameron. He had a fly ball to center in the 2nd inning. Happy Chandler was from the state of Kentucky. Line shot by Tejada. It seemed to fool him. On through into left center field. Cameron takes the turn. Lee with a throw to second. And on 1 bounce, it's a double as the throw arrives a little bit after Cameron at second base. 5th double of the year for Cameron.
Now, Mickey either didn't see that ball well or it was knuckling. And I'm guessing the latter, because his reaction to it, that ball had something funky going on. Sometimes when a player hits the ball right on the barrel like that, really centers it, the ball won't have spin, so it'll be like a 140-mile-an-hour knuckleball. And that's what that thing did. It just moved down and away from him. And good hustle by Cameron with 2 outs, getting the extra base there.
He really turns it on around the bag here. Now Hardy bats. He had a single up the middle. There is ball 1 to him. 2 hits for the Brewers, 1 for the Astros. A pitcher's game so far. 2 outs in the 4th. Hardy hit .316 on the road last year. Looks at a strike, and it's 1-1. Felipe Paulino filling in quite capably for the injured Brian Moeller, who is supposedly pitching tonight at Round Rock, beginning his rehab assignment there from the right knee injury. Pitching with a knee brace, which apparently is not bothering him at all.
Yeah, outing one of at least a couple, I would think, for Brian down there. Tries to build back up and get Major League ready.
Paulino's high with that one. It's 2-1. And Monday, Brandon Backey is supposed to begin his rehab assignment at Round Rock. Doug Brocale threw a simulated game, 20 some odd pitches this afternoon. He pronounced himself healthy, and as far as he's concerned, he's ready to be activated Sunday, which is the first day he's eligible to come off the 15-day disabled list. Now it's up to the ball club to decide, but he says he's ready for Sunday. Shoulder feels good. Line to right field. Hunter Pence takes it on a bounce. Cameron's coming home. Here's a throw to the plate. Quintero takes it. What a hit! Quintero holds on. Cameron is out, and they're both down. Tremendous collision at home plate, and down Quintero holding his head, and down is Cameron now sitting up.
Well, the fans booing here, but that's a clean play. That's just good hard-nosed baseball by Mike Cameron. And I think this head-on-head collision. Remember, Q had the issue last year when he got whacked with the bat while catching. 2 outs are going to be aggressive. A good strong throw from Hunter, and you see it setting up. You knew there was going to be a hit. Because that bounce came up high, Q not able to get down low. You'd prefer to stay low if you could, but the ball kind of takes him up to about shoulder height, and he doesn't have time to get low before absorbing that blow. And my goodness, how did he hang on?
That was a tremendous blast from Cameron, coming in full bore, and then he lowers the shoulder and their heads collide. A high-speed hit, and Quintero holds on Hunter Pence's second outfield assist of the year.
Oh, again, that's the fans are booing Cameron, but that's a clean play. The catcher's blocking the plate. You've got no choice.
What an out in this ball game. Quintero limping away, and because of his play, it remains scoreless after 3.5. Sacrifice bunt in the first. That began a string of 9 consecutive outs for Giovanni Gallardo, who delivers ball 1. Tremendous play by Hunter Pence and Humberto Quintero to get Mike Cameron. 1 ball and 1 strike, and who says baseball is not a contact sport after a play like that? Line shot to left field, and Bourne Batting in the number 2 spot is the leadoff man in this inning. It's a 5-game hitting streak for him. And Quintero walking around all right on the bench, but grimacing and holding his right shoulder.
He's built like a fullback. Got that low center of gravity. But Mike Cameron had a full head of steam up as he came down the line.
Oh, he put everything he had into that jarring collision. He just launched his body, which is standard. Lance Berkman grounded out earlier. Very good play on him by Ricky Weeks. There is strike 1. The base runner is taut. In that case, the catcher has possession of the ball. Go into him. Standard operating procedure.
Yeah, sometimes you see a catcher kind of cheat inside the line and try to make a swipe tag, but Q position there. He was prepared to take the hit.
1-1 to count. As Berkman looks down at Dave Clark. Bourne is 3 for 4 in stealing bases. Cameron looks okay in center field.
Working that jaw a little bit.
Yeah. Did you see that note today about mouthpieces? Baseball players now, more and more of them are wearing mouthpieces.
Yeah, I read somebody was just here. Somebody with the Dodgers, Manny or somebody who was using a mouthpiece as opposed to chewing tobacco.
Yeah, I think it was Manny. And Eric Burns has started wearing one. And it's for a reason that you might not suspect unless you know about such things. Eric Burns has had injuries to both hamstrings, and actually he's wearing a mouthpiece to protect his hamstrings, not his jaw. Apparently it's the alignment of the jaw that helps your legs.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, I never heard that one.
Apparently this research has been out there for a while, and some baseball players are now starting to go with it. That has a little giddy up on it. Berkman swinging underneath the heater. 2 balls and 2 strikes for Gallardo. And the toss goes over on Michael Bourne. The Astros 3, 4, 5 hitters are combining for a .233 average to this point in the season. Bourne stole a base last night in the 8th inning. Jason Kendall's thrown out only 1 of 11. Close one, ball 3, and it's a full count.
And Jason Kendall very good last year. It's interesting when you look at his career. Some of those years in Oakland, I don't know if he didn't get much help. He wasn't very good at throwing people out, and that was the case too towards the end of his run in Pittsburgh. But last year he was a demon back there. Threw out 40%, something like that.
Yeah, he really worked very hard over the previous winter on that. Runner going on 3-2. It's a strike. The throw on one bounce. Safe. They're right on the bag, but Bourne got in, and Berkman still standing at home plate, looking back at Jerry Meals, who just called strike 3 on him for out number 1. Could have been a double play. It was really close.
And this is why, in a perfect world, Michael Bourne better near the top of the order. More opportunities to run than when he's down in the 8 hole. He's looking back in there. Probably shouldn't be. He's looking in for ball 4 or contact. But in this situation, he should just treat it like a straight steal. He cost himself a little time there. Fortunately, he's still able to beat it.
And he's there for Carlos Lee with a fly ball to right. Bouncer foul. You know, Billy Spires told us that a few years ago about the base runner looking in.
Yeah, it used to be that base runners were told never to look in, and then what a base runner will tell you is you usually take a peek. But you can see Michael, his eyes stayed on home plate for 3 or 4 strides there, and it looked to me like it cost him a little bit, like he got out of sync. At that point, it doesn't matter. If the ball's put in play, it doesn't really change what you're trying to do. Because the line drive somewhere, hit somewhere, you're not going to be able to stop and get back. And if it's hit high in the air, you will be able to pop up with his speed and probably get back on just about any ball. You kind of try to pick it up after contact or pick up your base coach. So 1 peek in is fine, but keep looking, I think may have cost him a little bit.
2 balls and a strike. Gallardo staying away from Carlos Lee. Billy Spires called me over one night, batting practice, and said, why do you guys always say it's a hit and run and the base runner looks into the plate as he's going from first to second? I said, I don't know. What do you want to say about it? He said, well, you can look in when you're stealing a base if you look early. He said, I take a glance really early, and then I keep my head focused where I'm going. High drive left field. Carlos Lee getting one up and out. Two-run homer. Carlos Lee against his former club, the Brewers, and it's a 2-0 lead. That's number 4 of the year for El Caballo, giving him 12 runs batted in.
Trying to go in, didn't get it in there. And he made him pay. Gallardo's been very sharp tonight. He made a mistake here, and El Caballo made him pay.
Up 2-0. Miggy Tejada with a big cut. Strike one. He ties Lance Berkman and Hunter Pence for the club lead with number 4.
That's a pretty good ratio. 3 balls out of the infield, 2 runs scored. The whole ball game.
Single, a steal. And now with 1 out, a 2-run homer for the Astros. Tejada fouls it back. And it's 0-2. And Giovanni Gallardo had pitched 18 consecutive scoreless innings to open his career against the Astros before he gave up those 2 runs. It's the 3rd home run he's surrendered in 21 innings this year. 1-2. Hunter Pence on deck. Tejada's been batting second the last several games, but in the 5 spot tonight. Well, why wouldn't they be making up signs for Miguel Tejada after the April he's having?
Yeah, if the Astros ever put out a calendar, it needs to be Mr. April.
Yeah, he does. Foul ball. He has 23 hits. And that's the 2nd highest number of hits he's had through his first 68 plate appearances of any season.
Kendall leaves that hand exposed and pays the price.
Oh, boy.
But they do put out a calendar. They just gave him out here the other night.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't see who Mr. April was.
We'll have to check.
I think it was the ballpark.
Whoa. 2-2. Gallardo looking down at his footing. Tejada has the highest April batting average of any player the last 5 years, and 365 this year. Ranks behind Beltran, Hudson, and Votto. But 356 the last 5 years in April. And 3-2. You know what I was noticing before the game? We don't want to make too much out of stats this early in the season. But coming into this game, he had 4 walks and 4 strikeouts. Toward right center, Cameron glides back. 2 outs. So that kind of ratio will go a long way if a hitter has the same number of walks as strikeouts. Usually he's really having a fine season.
He's a good contact guy. He doesn't walk a lot. I don't think he strikes out that much either, and that's why he's not a bad fit in the 2-hole. He makes so much contact.
Yeah. Last year he had 24 walks and 72 strikeouts for the season. Hunter Pence grounded to second in the 2nd inning. He tops that one, and it's strike 1 to Hunter. Pudge Rodriguez is putting on the catching gear. So Humberto Quintero, yeah, he's doing sprints. Apparently he's coming into this game for Q.
Who's had the worst luck of any Astro in the last couple of years?
Humberto Quintero?
Unbelievable.
Yeah. He has, hasn't he?
And just in terms of injuries, and then when he thinks he's going to get an opportunity, signing Pudge cost him what he thought was going to be his job.
Yes. His whole career is a hang with him. It's the right shoulder on top. Fly ball. Cameron waiting. It started with a single by Michael Bourne. He hit the ball to left field. He stole second by a whisker on the strikeout by Berkman. Then on a 2-1 count, it's Carlos Lee. El Caballo makes it 2-0 Astros. play in the top of the fourth. Felipe Paulino works to Bill Hall. Hall hit a fly ball to right on the first pitch. And now first pitch swinging again. Sends Tejada out into left center. Let's see Humberto Quintero on the bench while he comes out to warm up the pitcher, Paulino. And so that was it.
Trying to make that throw, and he just couldn't get his arm up. Shoulder really barking, and then the Astros are going to be faced with decision here, I would think, because you can't afford to go with one catcher.
No. And now with Jason Kendall stepping up, let's go to Patty Smith.
All right, well, so many times we've been down here, and of course, former President George and Barbara Bush are here in the Diamond Club, but I have the privilege of being down here with 4 of the Bush grandchildren, and I'm going to start with Pierce. And Pierce, I'm going to let you introduce your sisters and your cousin.
It's so special. We're huge Astros fans in the Bush family, and coming out with our grandparents is extra special, but I love coming out and just seeing the game anyways. This is my little sister, Ashley. This is my cousin, Gigi, and my sister, Lauren.
All right, and you 3 are Neil's kids.
We're Neil's kids.
And Gigi?
I'm Dora's daughter.
Dora's. Okay, well, we were talking before, and I got to say, I'm pretty interested in Ashley here, because Ashley, you're interning with Fox up in New York, right?
I am. Thank you for mentioning that.
So what's your goal?
For the summer?
Just for in life.
Oh, in life. Oh, my.
Your Fox goal.
Well.
You're not taking my job, are you?
Yes, exactly. I want to take your job. That's my life goal. I'm entering in the documentary unit, so we'll see where life takes me.
She's a young lady. She's a very young lady.
Well, and you guys, I know you were telling me, Lauren, that you have grown up you live up in New York right now, but you've been an Astros fans all your life, haven't you?
It's the old Astrodome, and I remember Orbit. He's no longer with us, which is very sad. I know, but I definitely had my 13th birthday and some box up in the Astrodome, and always good memories.
Of course, we've been sitting here chatting with you guys, and it's been very interesting, but you've been talking about just some old memories, hanging out at the White House. Can you just, give some of the things you were telling me just about the tradition and how special of a time that's been for you?
Yeah, no, we're very proud of our family, and we're lucky to have such a close family. And I think going to the White House, going to Maine and other places has been really special. But going to the Astros tonight is just as good. So we're excited to be here.
You guys are in town because your grandmother?
Yeah, my grandmother had her 20th anniversary of her celebration of reading event last night. So we sort of surprised her and did a bit of a presentation to honor what she's done for family literacy.
Well, very nice. And they told me any baseball questions had to be put your way. So here's your opportunity, your assessment of the team.
I think, we obviously have a slow start, but I'm very optimistic. The Astros always have a way of pulling it together at the end, and I think this season won't be any different. And I'm really pulling for the Astros, and I think we're going to make it to the playoffs.
All right. Well, you guys, thanks so much for chatting with me. It's been a pleasure. You are all just absolutely delightful. The Bush is just incredible, guys.
And Pierce, he reminds me of Uncle George. The way he's got the head going, he's talking.
Yeah.
He reminds me of his uncle.
That's true.
He wants to know what you're saying. I'll tell him. They said they remind you you remind them of Uncle George, the way you kind of bob your head.
Well, I'll take that as a compliment, I guess. It's a good compliment. He's a good man.
Political aspirations there?
No. Life's so long. You live a long time, but I want to enjoy life and do something else, probably. So it's not in my genes.
All right.
Actually, it is in your genes.
Well, whatever.
It's not in your plans.
None of my plans.
All right, guys.
That's a good one, Patty. It is, and you're just deep into that DNA.
Yeah, he's wearing jeans, in fact. 2 balls and no strikes to Giovanni Gallardo, with Kendall having singled up the middle on at first, and the bunt goes foul. 2-1. And Patty, I don't know if she's still talking to them or not. She ought to ask that young lady if she knows Dick Morris, since she's a Fox intern in New York, because you interviewed him last night. So there's another angle for Patty. 2-0 for the Astros. Paulino looking over at the runner Kendall. He's allowed 4 hits in this game. Blum's creeping in at third. The bunt is up the line at first. Pudge with the throw. Sacrifice. 2 outs. Kendall to second. That play going from 2 to 4. Now it's Ricky Weeks. And Weeks is 0 for 2. Pudge out for consultation there, since he's just entered the game. And wanted to talk with Paulino before they pitched to Weeks, who's flied to right and grounded to first. Changing catchers on the fly tonight, the Astros.
And that can be a little unsettling for a pitcher. And get into a rhythm with one guy and kind of on the same page, and then somebody else comes into the game, may have a little bit different take on things.
Good point. Strike one call. J.R. Tolles is off to a good start at AAA Round Rock, hitting .357, 1 homer, 2 runs batted in 28 at bats. Hopefully Humberto Quintero can keep himself available for action. Little chop past the mound. Tejada coming in barehanding, can't pick it up. Infield hit. Weeks, first and third, 2 outs for Hart now.
Yeah, tough chance for Miggy there. That ball slowly hit, but bounding ball, tough to make a barehanded play on, and I think that really was his only option. With Weeks, who runs well going down the line.
That was an in-betweener. He got it past the pitcher, but hit too slowly for the shortstop to make the play. And now it's Hart batting. He's grounded back to the mound and flied to right. Hart takes strike one. This number 2 spot in the lineup for him allows the Brewers to maximize his abilities to run and hit for some power. Last year he had 20 homers, 91 runs batted in, 23 steals, and he had 45 doubles. Swings at the breaking pitch, and it's 0-2. Johan Santana and the Mets are leading Washington 2-0 in the 5th.
First slider was a get-over slider, and then he comes back with that swing and a miss. Hard slider moving out of the zone. Have him set up to come hard in with the fastball. You have to think he's got to be thinking about covering that outside corner with those big long arms.
Line shot into right. Gets a runner home. Kendall scores the first run for the Brewers. RBI single for Hart on the 0-2 pitch. That's his 7th run batted in, and it's 2-1 Astros with Kendall scoring.
Hart hit a 2-strike slider to right field last time up, hit it pretty good, but in the air, and Hunter was able to run it down, and they wanted to go in with a fastball, and Felipe just didn't make the pitch. He left it over the middle of the plate, and that's part of the learning process too between a pitcher and a catcher. As a catcher, you have an idea of how you want to get a guy out, and the more you get to know a pitcher, you know whether he's capable of making that pitch in that situation. Some guys pitch inside much more effectively than others.
Runners at first and second for Ryan Braun, who was hit by a pitch, and he grounded out to second. Strike on a changeup. Braun has 11 homers and 30 runs batted in his career against the Astros. Those are his best numbers against any club in the league. Became the second player in history behind Albert Pujols to hit 30 or more homers in each of his first 2 years. Paulino made his major league debut in Milwaukee September 5th of '07. He gave up 5 runs in 3 innings, including back-to-back homers by Hart and Jenkins. Way outside there. 1 ball, 1 strike. And then he made his first major league start here against Ben Sheets later in '07. Took a loss in that game, giving up 5 runs in 4 innings. So coming into this game, he was 0-1 with a 12.86 ERA against the Brewers for 2 appearances. But he seems to have really learned a lot this year. Line to right field. There's another play at the plate coming up. Hunter Pence with a throw, and it's offline, and the tying run scores. Weeks coming in to make it a 2-2 game on the RBI single by Braun. Hart goes first to third on the hit, and Braun picks up his 12th run batted in.
A lot of good hitters in this Brewer lineup. A lot of good athletes. They run the bases well. They go first to third. They're going to score from second on most base hits with 2 outs. And this ball, Hunter has to come a little bit further for, and he's drifting towards the line as he makes the throw, so the ball sails up the line a little bit. If that's right on the money, they might have a play on Weeks. Tough throw to make when you're moving in one direction, and try to be accurate, throw him back against the grain a little bit.
4 singles in the inning, 2 runs home. Runners at the corners now for Prince Fielder, who's bounced into a force and struck out. That little infield hit to shortstop by Weeks really hurt the Astros in this inning. Could have been the 3rd out.
Yeah, and that's, Felipe very good last time out, but not under too much duress from the Reds. So the next step is damage control. How do you navigate your way through an inning when you're starting to get hit a little bit?
That's a liner past Berkman to make it 3-2 Milwaukee. RBI single Fielder. That's 4 straight hits, 5 in the inning. Fielder picks up his 11th run batted in. He jumped all over that offering.
Yeah, he had bad luck with the infield hit by Weeks, but in his last 3 hits, he just hasn't been able to make pitches. His left ball's up over the middle. This is a changeup. It doesn't have very good action. It just sits there for Prince Fielder. And then the Hart and the Braun base hits, breaking balls that he hung a little bit.
Mike Cameron's the batter. Cameron has a double in 2 trips. There is strike 1. Now the base runner coming home as he was when he barreled into Quintero. If he's a right-handed thrower, is taught to go into the catcher with his non-throwing shoulder. Try to dislodge the ball if the catcher has possession of it, as Q did. Ripped to left field. And Braun to third. He's coming home. Carlos Lee's throw to the plate, cut off. That makes it 4-2, and Jeff Blum gets the rundown and the tag out on Fielder to end it. But the Brewers come up with 4. They get 6 hits in the inning and leave a man, and it's 4-2 Brewers in the 5th. with Jeff Blum leading it off and taking ball one. He lined out first in the second. He's hit in some tough luck this season with some lineouts. Looks at that one for a 2-ball, no strike count. This platoon at third base has worked out great for the Astros. Blum and Keppinger. The Jeff and Jeff third base duo combining to hit 367. That's the best of anybody's third baseman in the major leagues this year. 2-1 the count with Pudge Rodriguez on deck, and then Felipe Paulino due up third. But in the bullpen, Jeff Fulchino is warming up for the Astros. Line, and Weeks knocks it down, scrambles, throws, and there's the stretch by Fielder for the out at first. Quick recovery by Weeks.
The ball might have had a little sinking action. I think he overplayed it. And I think Blummer hesitated just a second, thinking that he had lined out before he restarted his engine, and that may have cost him. Weeks clanks it, but recovers. And Prince may have been off the bag.
Yeah, hard to say. Mike DeMuro is the umpire at first. Pudge Rodriguez the batter. Fouls it back, strike one. Pudge in his first trip to the plate tonight is at 245 with 1 homer and 6 runs batted in. He's had 53 at bats this season. Pudge hitting .318 on the homestand. Slider takes the count to 0-2. Pudge made his 18th straight opening day start this year. Had a 3-game hitting streak, but that was snapped last night. Bouncer Gallardo. 2 outs.
Astros are celebrating 10 years here at Minute Maid Park. Help us pick the top moment in the park's history with our bracket challenge. You can go to Astros.com. Cast your vote today. This week, you're picking between Brad Ausmus's home run in the NLDS against the Braves, and then the first ever game at Minute Maid Park. Most importantly, though, you're voting for Baggy's goatee. That's the referendum. Jeff Bagwell's goatee versus Brad Ausmus' home run. That's really a tough call.
It is. It's strike one to Paulino. He grounded to shortstop first time up. Cubs and Cardinals scoreless through 4 in St. Louis. Strike to Paulino, and Gallardo, who leads it 4-2, is in front 0-2 in the count. St. Louis leads that 11-5 record in the NL Central, and there's the breaking pitch for a strikeout. Number 3 for Gallardo. 4-2 Brewers after 5. games.
Well, I just quit. Again, this is like my third time to try to quit World of Warcraft. But I like World of Warcraft, I like Halo, and Madden football, NCAA football.
He's got to be good at those games. His hand-eye coordination.
Kind of like Pong.
Pong, yeah. There's one.
Space Invaders.
Carlos Lee coming out late. And Felipe Paulino will be facing Hardy to lead off. Hardy is 2 for 2. Single to center, another single to right. Paulino's given up 9 hits, 4 runs now. 8 of the 9 hits have been singles.
Well, the last 9 batters are 8 out of 9 against him with the sacrifice. He was cruising along and then just one base hit after another. Not really getting lit up, but some good solid at bats. There's opportunity now to kind of right the ship and take control of this game again.
There's strike 1 to Hardy.
Throwing strike 1, a quality strike on the outside corner, always a good way to start.
Bill Hall's on deck. That's tap foul for an 0-2 count for Felipe Paulino, who's thrown 75 pitches tonight. There's the alignment for the Astros. It's Dempster and Wainwright in that scoreless game in St. Louis. Cubs and Cardinals have played 4. 1-2. Cardinals coming off a sweep of the Mets. Line to right field. Hardy climbed the ladder, took that high pitch the other way for a 3 for 3 night.
Well, he hasn't established inside, and so far he hasn't really established anything soft. He's thrown a couple of changeups and they haven't been particularly good. So I think the Brewers hitters are pretty much looking away, and they're looking hard. And as a hitter, if you can kind of simplify it, it makes it a lot easier.
Hardy's aboard. Bill Hall is in the batter's box. Hall is 0 for 2.
And again, they're trying to come in, and he threw a strike over the outer third.
Cecil Cooper managed Bill Hall at Brewers AAA Indianapolis club when he was a second baseman, and said he batted him leadoff. That's when he really started hitting and got promoted to the majors. He is a very fine fastball hitter. There's Fulcino continuing to warm up for the Astros. So 78 pitches in. Paulino's being watched carefully here in this 4-2 game. 0-2. Jason Kendall on deck. It's Atlanta 3, Cincinnati 2. Bottom of the 6th inning in Cincinnati. Singles to 7 of the last 8 batters. 4 straight RBI singles. Hart, Braun, Fielder, and Cameron in the 5th. Edinson Volquez started for the Reds against Javier Vasquez. Foul back. And a battle of V's. Volquez, JD, with an interesting pitching line tonight.
What's he got going on?
He's out of the game. 5 innings, 1 hit, 3 runs, 7 walks, 7 strikeouts.
It's well, based on the way he threw here, that doesn't surprise me. He does not like to give in. He's not afraid to walk you.
He gave up a homer to Jeff Francoeur, his 2nd of the year. Up the right field line, slicing, fouling out of play. Still 0-2. The Astros will be in Cincinnati starting Monday night for a 3-game series, hoping for payback after the Reds took 3 of 4 here. Is fairly pleased. Minnesota 5, Cleveland 1, bottom of the 7th in Cleveland. Justin Morneau hit number 4 for the Twins. A strikeout of Hall.
Maybe the best changeup he's thrown. Good hand speed, good location. Good result.
Now Patty Smith.
Well, are you looking for the perfect place to enjoy a great baseball game, hanging out with your friends every Saturday? The Bud Light Young Professional Pack is your answer. You score a ticket in our new 5-7 patio bar right there, and an order of wings, a Bud Light, and a souvenir Astros mug for only $48. We've reserved this special area for fans who want to mix and mingle in a bar-style atmosphere and enjoy Astros baseball. The next Young Professionals night is tomorrow. For information, just visit astros.com, guys.
Is that young urban professionals?
Just young. You don't.
Okay.
You could be rural.
Okay. Everyone's invited. Everybody young. You old people need to stay away from that 5-7 grill tomorrow night only. Pitch out.
Yeah, but if you're, as long as you're young at heart, you don't have to really be young.
We don't put an age on young. Kendall looked at ball one. He singled to start that 4-run rally in the 5th inning after grounding out. There's a mixture out there of ages. They all seem to be equally enjoying the evening. Strike makes it 1-1 strike. Gallardo's on deck with the Brewers leading 4-2. They've out hit the Astros 10-3.
Kendall over the years has been a very good hit and run man. We rely on him to make contact, and he does hit the ball on the ground a lot, so I'm fearful of the double play for Ken Maka.
Strike makes it 1-2. This Brewer club has really made a lot of baseball fans last few years in Milwaukee. That buckled him. Pitchers love to see those knees buckle. Kendall reaches out and misses. Swift number 3 of the night for Paulino.
Changing speeds effectively in this inning. He got Hall with the changeup, and then he follows a slow curve with a good heater. Again, he missed his spot, but you know, it's the ability to get the hitters off the fastball a little bit with the slow breaking stuff that allows you to get away with some mistakes with the fastball.
Gallardo now looking at ball one. He's grounded out and put down a sac bunt. At the time he bunted, it got Kendall to second. It was the second out of the inning. Well, it seemed like a rather harmless sacrifice, but 5 straight hits followed. It's 1-1. And for the Brewers, that has to be a welcome sight. They're 10th in the league in runs scored. They rely quite a bit on the long ball. They were only hitting .236 as a team when this game started.
And down near the bottom of the pack in batting average, but second in the league in home runs. Last year, a very good offensive club and a very good pitching team as well. Might be the best pitch he made because Gallardo fouled it off his foot. Maybe that'll bother him.
Oh, now pulls the string a little bit on him with a breaking ball, and it's 1-2. Gallardo was a loser in game 1 of the National League Division Series at Philadelphia, but didn't give up an earned run. Now he strikes out, and Paulino has struck out the side after that single. No runs a hit, a man left, 4-2 Brewers in the 6th. 6th inning. Now it's time for the Coors Light freeze cam, showing you a play that was a grinding collision. Hunter Pence with a throw on one hop, and then Alberto Quintero. How did he maintain possession after that tremendous hit by Mike Cameron? Back in the 4th inning. Coors Light freeze cam brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. Now it's 4-2. The Brewers leading it. The Astros coming up here with the top of the order in the last of the 6th inning. Kazuo Matsui's 1 for 2. Bunting, barehanded Bill Hall, and he throws him out.
Yeah, that Brewer infield has been spectacular so far this year. Billy Hall, who has had some struggles defensively in his career, earning accolades with his early season play. Made some sparkling plays. Here probably could have gloved that ball. With plenty of time. It was running too hard, and he was in anticipating it. But it sure would be nice if the Astros could win this game by a run and have that play be a difference maker.
Yes.
Hugh taking that hit that he took.
Strike to Michael Bourne. He led off the 4th inning with a line drive single to left, stole second, rode home on the 2-run homer by Carlos Lee. Pretty good looking pitch, but the home plate umpire Jerry Meals called it ball 1. Lance Berkman's on deck. Gallardo is low with the curve. Gallardo has a 2-1 count. Tomorrow night it's a 6:05 start for Mike Hampton and Jeff Suppan. Bouncer goes foul. 2-2 now to Michael Bourne, and then Sunday afternoon at 1:05 it's Russ Ortiz and Manny Parra. Front row does have its rewards. 3-2 now to Michael Bourne. Gallardo has thrown only 67 pitches. 42 of them have been strikes. Up the middle and into center field. Oh, Michael Bourne has done some really good things at the plate tonight. Sacrifice bunt, line drive hit to left, ground ball hit to center.
Yeah, having a nice night. Michael really starting to show significant improvement at the plate.
He began the night with a .358 on base average, and that's been improved. And he's on for Lance Berkman, who's 0 for 2. A few weeks robbed him with a sliding play to his left, and then strikeout looking in the 4th for Gallardo on Berkman. Foul for strike 1. Brewers have had real problems in walking a lot of hitters this year. They've walked more than any other staff in the National League. Tonight, though, that has not been an issue whatsoever for Gallardo. No walks. No balls, 2 strikes. Their ERA 4.96 is only 13th best in the league coming into this one.
It looks like the Brewers scouting report on Lance here is fastballs top of the zone. Worked him that way last time. Couple high heaters in this at bat so far.
Strike 3 again.
And he drops a yellow hammer in there on him.
Oh, is that unusual? Berkman caught looking twice in one game and consecutive at bats. 4th strikeout for Gallardo.
And Lance just a little bit out of sync right now. His timing is off. Unable to get to those fastballs. And now fooled by the backdoor breaking ball.
Carlos Lee ripped one for a 2-run shot back in the 4th on a 2-1 count after hitting a fly ball to right. This grounder goes foul. Strike 1 to El Caballo with Miguel Tejada on deck. The Astros are next to last in runs scored. They had not scored for 12 innings until they struck in the 4th inning tonight with that Bourne and Lee combination. Now Michael draws the throw. Michael stole second in the 4th inning ahead of the Lee home run. Vicente Padilla is going for Texas in Baltimore. Baltimore leads it 4-3, bottom of the 8th inning. Fly ball hits for right. Corey Hart waiting. No runs, a hit, a man stranded after 6, 4-2 Milwaukee.
Felipe Paulino had been cruising along a little infield single by Weeks, and then a series of bad pitches. Felipe out over the plate for that breaking ball and high fastball there to J.J. Hardy, and the Brewers just ambushed him. 5 consecutive hits, all singles, 4 runs across the board. And now it's going to be Jeff Fulcino.
And also a change in left field with Darren Erstad in for Carlos Lee. Fulcino, with no wins or losses, has an ERA of 6. He's worked 3 innings with a strikeout, a walk, and a home run allowed. That was Tuesday night against the Dodgers on a 2-run shot by Manny Ramirez. So it's Erstad in left field, batting 9th. Fulcino into Carlos Lee's number 4 spot in the lineup. Lee leaving after a 1-for-3 night with a 2-run homer. And we'll wait for an injury report.
And just a straight double switch, or it's kind of early in the game to double switch Carlos's bat out of there.
True. Strike to Ricky Weeks. Weeks is 1-for-3. He hit that soft single to shortstop that could have been the 3rd out of the inning, but those things happen all the time in baseball. And then that was the first of those 5 consecutive 2-out singles JD talked about. 1 ball, 1 strike. So for Paulino, 6 innings, 10 hits, 4 runs allowed, no walks, 4 strikeouts, 1 hit batter. Hart and Braun to follow.
Yeah, and really with a bit of good luck, if any one of those balls is just hit at somebody, he gets out of here giving up maybe a run or 2. And you're thinking, boy, that's 2 great starts in a row for Felipe. So 1 really good one and 1 that won't look so good, but it was pretty close. Just got a little wobbly there with his command.
But what I liked about it was he regrouped in the 6th inning and was changing speeds better then as he struck out the last 3 men he faced.
And, you know, and that may be, we talked about at the time with Pudge coming in, it may have been a case of Pudge getting a better feel for Paulino as well.
2-2 for Fulcino. Almost hit him with that off-speed pitch. Full count now for 29-year-old Jeff Fulcino of Titusville, Florida.
Splitter.
Jeff was in a dozen games with Kansas City last year, 1 game with Florida in 06. High to left field. Erstad watches it sail. And that is a hanger that reaches the Landry's Crawford boxes for a Weeks home run, number 3 of the season. 5-2 Milwaukee as Weeks hits the first long ball for the Brewers tonight. That's their 20th.
Third home run this year for Ricky Weeks. Talking to him a little bit before the game, and he said he's seeing the ball pretty well and he feels like he's swinging it well, and he got every bit of that one.
That ball a long way. Now Corey Hart takes ball one. Ricky Weeks not too far from where he went to college, Southern Mississippi. This fly ball heads for right field. Hunter Pence over. And it's one out for Ficino. 25,316 to pay at attendance. Houston Astros baseball on Fox Sports Houston is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers, by Kawasaki, by Reliant Energy, and by Southwest Airlines. One down now to correct the Ricky Weeks College. He's from Southern University in Louisiana. Ryan Braun singled in a run. Showing bunt here, and it's ball one. So Ricky, who was the first round draft choice, the second player drafted in 03, returns to the South and does well. He was the winner of the Rotary Smith Award given out here in Houston. Also won the Golden Spikes Award and the Dick Hauser Award. They're highly touted, and you can see why. The ball he just hit. One ball, one strike. The Brewers went to the playoffs last year for the first time in 26 years with that 90-72 record. On waves at the curveball, 1-2.
They scored just 9 runs in that 4-game series. Lost to the Philadelphia Phillies. The bats really went quiet. Tends to happen in the postseason.
Pitching reigns supreme there. Roll to Berkman. Sprints to first. Ficino was trying to get on track. 2 outs.
Our league leaders is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Here are the players with the most home runs against the Astros since 2007. Brian Fielder, Albert Pujols, Soriano, Dunn, all Central Division foes, of course. No longer for Adam Dunn. He's moved along to the Nationals.
We'll see him in a short time as the Astros wind their way to Washington, D.C. on the end of the next road trip. Prince Fielder looks at ball one. Fielder had one of those RBI singles in the 5th. He's 1 for 3. Well, Albert Pujols has been magnificent to open the season. Strike evens the count at 1-1. Mike Cameron on deck. Up the middle, and Tejada gloves it. Spins and throws to Berkman. After the Weeks homer, the next 3 go down. Brewers 5, Astros 2 in the 7th. Don't we? It's Milwaukee 5 and Houston 2. Time for our Land Rover extraordinary play of the game, and we'll get to that in just a moment after Miguel Tejada leads it off in the home 7th inning. He's 0 for 2. First pitch fastball fouled away, strike one. Miggy is grounded to second and hit a fly ball to center. Hunter Pence, Jeff Blum due to follow. The Astros have had nobody on base after the cleanup spot in the order tonight.
Gallardo still with good life on that heater. A lot of late swings on the fastball. Got that one.
Line to left. Ryan Braun. 1 out. Land Rover extraordinary play tonight, showing you a terrible collision at home plate, but this is one of the risks of a catcher. Hunter Pence, one hop throw to the plate, outfield assist, number 2 of the year, and then there's a collision with Mike Cameron coming in.
Now both guys paying a price there. That ball comes up high, and Q just able to secure it before the hit is made.
Land Rover, very comfortable vehicle. Catching and blocking home plate, not comfortable.
That's not, and for Cameron too.
Shot into center field by Hunter Pence. And the Astros come up with hit number 5 of the night. Yeah, Cameron.
I mean, that's
very slow to get up.
Well, and you don't want to. That's no fun for the base runner either. Head-on collision into a catcher with all that gear. There's potential for injury there, but that's the rules of engagement. And if you just slide there and allow yourself to be tagged easily, then you're not playing the game the right way. You would not qualify for the Ty Cobb Award.
Ooh. Firestone in-game box score showing you the Astros hitters. Jeff Blum takes strike one. He's lined to first and then lined to second, and Weeks was unable to hold that line drive but scrambled after the ball and threw him out. Blummer looking for a hole this time up after spanking the ball twice tonight. He falls behind 0-2.
So you know how they keep track of fly ball outs and ground ball outs? So
yes, sir.
The ball he hits that Ricky Wick jumps for, hits and falls, goes down as a ground ball 4-3.
Does it?
Well, I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure how you categorize it. Wasn't a line out. He didn't catch it.
No. That's a very tricky statistical quirk. Kendall comes up with it. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Gallardo has one of the better curveballs in the league. Early in the game, it was not particularly sharp, but he's thrown some in the last couple innings that have a real good bite.
Giovanni made only 4 major league starts last season. 2 and 2. It's his 3rd career start at Minute Maid Park, and he's trying to win all 3 of them. First 2 he won without giving up a run. He leads by 3 here. Brewers have a pretty well rested bullpen tonight. Roll to second, and Weeks will toss. Middleman Hardy. 4-6-3 double play. No runs a hit, nobody left after 7. 5-2 Brewers. In the box, facing Jeff Fulcino. Cameron is 2 for 3 tonight with an RBI. There's strike one. Fulcino gave up the homer to Ricky Weeks as he started the 7th inning, then retired the next 3. Missing there. The count goes to 1 ball and 1 strike for Jeff Fulcino, who was an 8th round pick by the Florida Marlins in 01. This is with the breaking ball, and the count runs to 2-1. He was claimed on waivers last December by the Astros. 2-2 the count. Big Jeff Fulcino listed at 6'5", 252.
Look how big Jeff is, and consider he's about 40 pounds shy of Broxton, the closer for the Dodgers, that was in there last night.
Broxton was just amazing. 3-2. Going 100 miles per hour. Fulcino, 29 years old. Hoping to log more major league time this year than he has certainly in the past. Bouncer on 1 bounce. Jeff Blum takes care of it. 1 out. The Astros are celebrating their 10 years in Minute Maid Park this season. Help us pick the best moment in our 10-year bracket challenge. Go to Astros.com to cast your vote today to pick the top moment in Minute Maid Park history. Chris Sampson warming up for Houston as we celebrate those 10 seasons, and you choose between those 2 moments up there in the bracket. Ball 1 to J.J. Hardy. Hardy is 3 for 3 in this game. 3 singles, 1 to center. The last 2 have gone to right. Billy Hall's on deck.
J.J. one more knock and he might be off the interstate. 193 now.
Just got an injury report on cue. Humberto Quintero out with a strained right shoulder from that collision at the plate. There's Chris Sampson. He made a quick trip over to Channelview High School, where his high school uniform number was retired. They're in batting practice tonight, along with the number of Glenn Wilson, former Astro outfielder. Special night for Chris Sampson. Yankees 4, Boston 2, bottom of the 7th at Fenway. Jabba Chamberlain started for New York. 2-2. John Lester was the Boston starter. Yankees probably happy to get away from their new home. At least their pitchers are. Whoa, slider got him swinging. Hardy chasing. Strikeout number 1 for Fulcino.
Good late movement on this slider. Good enough to get the job done. Hardy dreaming about hooking one into those Crawford boxes, perhaps.
There's somebody keeping score. Bill Hall with a fly ball outside the right field line. Hunter Pence hustling over, but it's in the seats.
Bad news if you're a fantasy owner and you have Brandon Webb.
Oh,
he's throwing in the bullpen tonight, trying to come back. Hey, way to go! That is a wonderful jacket.
Yes, it is.
But shoulder tightness in a bullpen session tonight as he tries to come back from an injury, so concern has to be rising in the desert.
1 ball and 1 strike. She clutches that trophy.
There's a photo op.
Yes, it is. Happy lady. Fulcino spins one up there, and Billy Hall has a 2-1 count. We'll talk about that for a while. Yes. Get in front of that one.
Yeah. Play that one off the chair.
2 balls, 2 strikes on a ball hammered by Bill Hall. Bill close to home. He's from Mississippi. Nettleton, Mississippi. popped up and out into shallow center field. It's Miggy Tejada. 6 straight set down by Fulchino after the Weeks homer in the middle of the 8th inning. 5-2 Brewers. Plays brought to you by Reliant Energy. Here's the power display for the Astros tonight. El Caballo, Carlos Lee cranking a 2-1 pitch. Home run number 4 of the year. In the 4th inning, scoring Michael Bourne. That made it 2-0 Houston. And he has left the game in a double switch. He was late coming out to left field in one of the innings earlier. We have no injury report on him. Don't know if he was ill between innings or what the reason was, but
yeah, that's kind of my guess is he's fighting a little something, because that's awfully early to double switch him out of a game when you're down a couple of runs.
Pudge Rodriguez came in for the injured Humberto Quintero, and he takes ball 1. Pudge hit a grounder back to Giovanni Gallardo, who's now into bonus time for the Brewers. 7 innings plus under his belt, saving the guys in the bullpen.
Well, the Brewers signed former Padre Trevor Hoffman. He's their closer, but he's hurt right now. He's making a rehab appearance in the minor leagues tonight. All goes well, he likely will be activated for Sunday's ball game.
Fly ball right center. Hart and Cameron go for it. Cameron, 1 out. Todd Coffey has done a nice job of closing.
Oh, there they are. Down the foul poles, the Chick-fil-A foul poles. And if an Astro hits one of those during this game or any game, if you're here, you can take your ticket stub to any greater Houston area Chick-fil-A and you'll receive a free chicken sandwich. You're on your own for the fries.
Those are good sandwiches.
The lemonade.
Good lemonade, too. Darren Erstad started last night in right field. He went 1 for 4 in his first start of the year. Now off the bench in this game in the double switch in left field, up for the first time, taking strike 1. Darren, a 143 hitter, 2 hits and 14 at bats, both of them singles. Matsui's on deck as Gallardo takes this game deep, and it is 0-2. I believe we're getting a report from Media Relations Director Gene Dias on Brian Moeller's rehab start tonight at Round Rock. Gallardo falling into that very good pattern for Milwaukee pitchers lately. 1 ball and 2 strikes. They've had quality starts now in 8 of their last 9 games, if this is one of them. It certainly is so far. And in those games, they're 4-2 with a 3.21, the Brewers starters. Breaking ball gets a strikeout for Gallardo, and that's number 5.
Foul tip, and Darren Erstad trying to press the case that the ball was in the dirt before secured by Kendall.
Ooh, he's got a point.
Meals is calling it a foul tip, and then he rung him up. Yeah, and they asked for help at third, and it was confirmed.
Yeah, call a foul tip. That's the indication. 2 outs now. That's strikeout number 5 for Gallardo. Matsui's 1 for 3. And ball 1 to him.
Not good news for the home team or the fans of the home team, but if you're a fan of good pitching, boy, you've seen a couple young dandies here the last couple of nights with Billingsley and this kid.
Yes.
Guys know how to pitch.
They really do. Strike there on appeal to third base. Makes it 1-1 for Gallardo. So see why the Brewers pin such high hopes on Giovanni, the way he's thrown tonight.
And we've seen a number of the good young arms in recent games. You know, Volquez and Cueto from the Reds were in here. Both with very good stuff. I don't think they have the command that these two guys, Billingsley and Gallardo, have.
Fielder makes it a 1-2-3-8. It's 5-2 Brewers, moving to the ninth. Begins his third inning of work. Jason Kendall in the box now steps out as time is called. We're waiting for Michael Bourne to get out to his position in center field. The Astros will have Bourne to lead off in the bottom of the inning, then Berkman, then the pitcher spot. It's ball 1 high. Kendall singled and scored in the 4-run fifth. Phillies just got 7 in the top of the ninth at Florida. To left field, Erstad tracks it over near the line. 1 out, and that's 7 straight outs for Fulcino.
Yeah, Marlins took a 3-0 shutout into the top half of the ninth in Florida. Josh Johnson went 7, 3 hits, shutout, 8 punch-out innings, and then Matt Lindstrom, the closer, just got torched. Gave up 7 earnings in 2/3 of an inning.
Shane Victorino ripped him for a grand slam, his second home run. And he also allowed a long ball to Chase Utley, number 5. That was a solo. Gallardo taking ball 1, 0 for 2 with a sac bunt.
Well, Lindstrom, another one of those guys that rushes it up there, the high 90s, capable of reaching 100 miles an hour, but don't throw in the right spots. They can still get you.
Yeah. Bouncer to third, brings in Jeff Blum. 2 outs. Fulcino taking the load off the other guys in the pen. Astros Live is coming up right after this baseball game tonight. You'll hear more from Bart Ennis and Dave Harbison. You'll have highlights and analysis coming your way, the Cecil Cooper press conference, and then the final score with Andrew Siciliano and a preview of the next 2 games of the homestand. Brewers leading it right now 5-2. Stay tuned for that afterwards. Ricky Weeks has scored 2 of the Brewers' runs tonight. He's 2 for 4. Homered in the 7th. And he looks at ball 1. That Philadelphia club 6 and 8, hoping to roar from behind and beat Florida. 2 Hopper. Jeff Blum to first to make it 9 straight. Retired by Fulcino after the week's homer. Now bottom of the 9th, 5-2 Brewers. Sports Houston is brought to you by Southwest Airlines and by your Texas Ford dealers. We've had rain outside tonight, but this game has proceeded without any type of hindrance. And Milwaukee had the big 4-run fifth to grab the lead. Now it's 5-2. Giovanni Gallardo is trying to do something he has not done. Pitched a complete game in the major leagues. Todd Coffey is warming up in case he needs backup. As the home ninth begins with ball 1 high to Michael Bourne. He is 2 for 2 with a sac bunt. The Astros have been held to 5 hits by Gallardo. Maintained pretty good velocity. He's lost about 3 miles per hour maybe on the fastball, but hey, that's acceptable. He's getting outs. 2-0. He's at 95 pitches for the night. Never gone more than 8 innings in a major league game. Feathers that one in, and it's 2-1. In fact, he went 8 innings at Houston September 17th of 07. That's his longest major league start. 2-2. The Brewers do not have a complete game yet this year. The Astros are hoping they don't get the first one tonight. They'd love to see a furious bottom of the 9th with Berkman on deck. And the pitcher spot is due up 3rd. Drag 3 to Bourne. 6 strikeouts now.
They got straight changeup. This little BP fastball, and Michael couldn't pull the trigger. Thinking about that curveball. Rally caps are on.
Yes. And it's Lance Berkman batting. He is 0 for 3. Weeks made a good play on him, and he's been caught looking twice. Bunting, and it's foul and not catchable. For strike 1.
That's maybe the second time I think I've ever seen Lance try that. Gives you an idea how he's feeling at the plate these days.
Yes.
And they're down 3 runs, so he's thinking about being a table setter, but even with that, that's more a function of the fact that he's just scuffling at the plate, so he's going to do whatever he can and try to get a little creative to get on base there.
Jeff Kempinger's in the on-deck circle. Pitcher spot due up next. Then the Astros would be able to place Miguel Tejada at the plate if they keep it going. Foul ball makes the count 0-2. Giovanni Gallardo in search of major league win number 11. One and two. If he gets it tonight, he would be 3-0 in his career in 3 starts at Minute Maid Park.
I suspect he's got a little cheering section here.
Yeah, you'd have to think people would be here from Fort Worth. There are some Brewer fans. Very vocal group. For this 23-year-old pitcher. And that's strike 3, and Berkman caught looking 3 times in a row. I don't know if that's ever happened. 7 strikeouts for Gallardo.
Now, last time he got him, he froze him with a backdoor breaking ball. This time he clips the outside corner with a fastball. So just a great job of mixing stuff up and hitting spots. I mean, Kendall did not have to move at all. If you're traveling and can't watch the Astros, you can always catch the game on your computer with MLB.TV. The ultimate baseball experience features 100 out-of-market games per week live on your computer. And you can catch those you missed on demand. For more details, Astros.com.
Jeff Keppinger on an 8-game hitting streak takes strike 1. He has hit in his first 8 games as an Astro, only the second player in franchise history to start his Houston career with that 8-game hitting streak. And now a ground ball to shortstop. And Hardy takes care of it for the complete game win for Giovanni Gallardo. Brewers capture the opener of this series 5-2. Gallardo goes to 2-1. Felipe Paulino 0-1. Milwaukee now 7-9, and Houston falls to 6-11. And 3-5 now on this homestand for the Astros. Final score: Milwaukee 5, Houston 2. Our next Astros telecast is tomorrow night on Fox Sports Houston.